This is Straight Up Mortgage with Madi, and today we are talking about order outs. So, as a processor, on every file there are a group of documents that you may or may not have to order. I would say if it's a refi, probably these docs that I'm just going to do a quick overview on, like 90% of them have to be ordered. So I will go into them briefly, and I'll also do videos on each of these documents by themselves. But I just want you to kind of have it in your mind that every file that you receive, you will 9 to 10 times have to be ordering these items. It's either you're going to order it, maybe the company that you end up working for, they might have a junior processor that orders it. They might have different teams. It just depends. However, on every file, these items need to be ordered, or just about. And you'll understand what I'm saying in a second. So the first document is the title. Think about the title of your car. Kind of think about your birth certificate in a way, because the title of a house is what is pulled and is what we look at to find out who does this house belong to, and who, like, the chain of title will also show who owned it before, if there's any liens on the property, which we'll get into when I talk about title by itself. But in order to get a mortgage, in order to sell your house, the title is always involved, and the mortgage processor or the mortgage company has to request title for every single mortgage that they are completing. The next thing is the appraisal. Now, sometimes in very more rare cases, you will not need a appraisal in a refinance. For simplicity's sake, 90% of the time you do need an appraisal, and it's normally the processor that orders it. I will go deeper into what an appraisal is and certain things to look for and how to order it and all of that. But the main thing that you want to grasp right now is the appraisal will give you the value of the house. So if I am purchasing a home, right, and somebody tells me, well, the sales price of my home is $500,000. When we get the appraisal and the appraisal comes back at $200,000, it's like, nah, I'm not paying $500,000 for a house that is worth $200,000. No way. And so if you get that concept of wanting to know the actual value of a home, the mortgage company really wants to know that, because they want to make sure that this money that they're giving out, that it's going to be profitable to them. And this appraisal gives them that guarantee, like, okay, this is what this house is valued at. The flood certification is more simple. It's just one sheet that says this house is in a flood zone or this house is not in a flood zone. And the reason why we pull this is because we need to make sure if it is in a flood zone that we have flood insurance, because your regular HO6, HO3, those policies, they don't include flood. They don't include flood insurance. So if you're in a flood zone, you would need to have a regular homeowners insurance plus flood insurance. So like all of those houses that you see along the beach line, if there's a mortgage on that property, it has both homeowners insurance policy and a flood insurance policy. The mortgage payoff. Again, the payoff demand statement is one that is ordered in refinances. If you're purchasing a home, you're not going to need a payoff statement because you're not paying anything off. You're purchasing a new property. The payoff demand statement is needed in a refinance when we are paying off an existing mortgage. We get the payoff statement because the payoff statement will tell us how much is actually owed on that mortgage. It'll have our principal, our interest, any fees that are associated with paying off the loan. That is what you will find on a payoff statement or payoff demand statement. And again, refinances, because when you're purchasing a home, this is a new home, or This is a new purchase. It is not the paying off of an existing mortgage. I also have here this homeowners insurance policy. That's something that is also needed on every mortgage, and that the processor will 9 times out of 10 have to order. And even if you don't have to physically order it, you do have to keep track of it. So even if you do have a junior processor that is doing all of your order outs, you have to stay on top of it and make sure that you have everything you need when it comes to this homeowner's insurance policy, or your payoff, or your flood, appraisal, title. It is your responsibility as the processor to make sure that all of the moving parts of your file is in place and is in order. And again, the homeowner's insurance, it basically insures the lender in the event something crazy happens, that insurance policy will cover the value, not the value of the home, but the cost to rebuild the home. So if a fire caught it and it burned down, the homeowner's insurance company will give the amount of money needed to rebuild that home. Lastly, we have verification of employment. Now, with the verification of employment, you do have to have a verbal verification of employment on every single loan file, because we want to make sure that our borrower is working and is still working when we're about to close the loan. For most mortgage companies, the verbal verification of employment has to be done within 10 business days of closing. But right now, we are in the midst of a pandemic. As I'm recording, this is the whole COVID-19, and now we need to have that done within 3 business days of closing. The whole point is we're trying to make sure our borrower is still employed, and I will go into depth when I do a video just on the verification of employment. There's a verbal and there's a written. The written verification of employment includes income information, like how they get paid, the frequency, the breakdown as far as base, commission, overtime, how they got paid in the last 2 years, those sorts of things. So there's 2 types of verification of employment: verbal and written. Written includes income. And so these are our 6 main items that, as a processor, needs to be ordered. And again, I will be doing videos on these items individually. Thank you for watching. This is Straight Up Mortgage with Madi. I'll see you on the next video.